everybody. Welcome to Perimenopause TV. We are here yet again to discuss perimenopause with a young woman who is going through perimenopause just like myself. So we are here with Darin, Grell. Hi, Darin.
Hi.
It's good to have you today. I'm looking forward to hearing your story.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us, Darin, a little bit about yourself. First of all, I can tell everybody you're my schoolmate. We went to school together and we've remained friends over the years. Many years later.
We're not saying how much, right?
Right? No, they will know. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, where you live, your age, and so on. If you're married, tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, well, Jen said I'm Darin, as everybody knows. We've been schoolmates since 19 whatever, and we're not everyday friends, but we do see each other, greet each other, happy to see each other kind of thing. I left Dominica a few times and came back. It's for part of getting an education and always having the desire to return home. So I was a beneficiary of help along the way, different things, dabbling. I think it's still trying to find myself in terms of what I think I cut out to do. But I have a background in IT, didn't get to practice much, but I'm literate in that. I followed that with an MBA. I dabbled in architecture, that didn't work because I don't think I'm strong in certain things. And then when I was done with dabbling in my 20s, I came back home in my mid-30s, back to Dominica, which was 12 years ago this year. 2008, that's a long time. I've been home I've been back 12 years. And I enjoy hiking, reading, learning. I think learning is crucial to the journey. You don't just stay one place. I also think the internet is a very good tool if we use it right, because there's lots to be learned on there. You subscribe to things of interest to you, and you read news and you read articles and blogs and all of that. And I volunteer in society because I believe service is also part of giving back to all we've received along the journey. So I'm a member of the Rotary Club. I was actually the secretary during Hurricane Maria, so it was a stressful time. Building back your house and attending to the needs of the community because there was need. And with support from Rotarians around the world, because Rotary Club is a worldwide club, we were able to give as well of our time and goods and things to people to help them come back. And we're still working on projects post-Maria. So people who tell me Maria is over, I look at them like, look around you.
Yeah.
Look around you, And then COVID came. So I'm a member of the service club. I also am a member of the choir at Canefield, which I direct. Don't ask me about the musical skills. But when we had a death in the choir, I figured I asked for strength and whatever. So I kind of direct the choir every other Sunday because I have somebody who helps as well. Okay. And I think between work, my volunteer activities, and church, that I have a full life. I'm not married. I don't have any children, but children love me. I have nieces and nephews who I love very much and who I leave Dominica for to go spend time with because their mom and dad calls and says, hey, the kids, you coming up? And I'm like, yeah. So I'm on speed dial with my niece. She's a teenager now, so she requires more support and teaching her patience with her little brother. And we also do family FaceTime calls because of COVID, because everybody has to stay in place. So it's very important, even if I have no kids or children of my own. I do have a partner that has a lot of patience with me. And we'll see how that goes. But I love kids. I love the youth. I believe that they need encouraging. They need pulling up. They need pulling along. They need people that they can talk to without being judged. And I think I play a role in their life. I'm also director of Create Caribbean Institute at the Dominican State College. So I've been working with the interns along with Dr. Shyla Esprit for the last 7 years or so. So some of those kids, even if they're done with the college, I'm still a mentor to them. They still come to me for advice, for anything. And they also help us out because, they're working in places now that they can provide assistance. So in brief, that's me.
Yeah. All right. So talking about perimenopause, how did you find out about it? Did you know about it before you started going through it?
Yes, I did. My mom being the counselor type of person, she had friends who didn't understand what was happening to them and their spouses didn't either. So she's been very open with us from the time even before we saw our periods.
Okay.
She would you know, because we're adults at the time, she would say, you know, so and so is going through this, and it's the hormones, and it's the body changing, and it may affect people different ways. And I also had friends who are, as you're aware, we are kind of younger than some of our schoolmates.
Right.
Some of them would have gone through certain things, and those that you're closer to would confide in you. And I have a really good friend. Every time her birthday's in August, mine is in April. So she would be like, this decade expect this, and this decade expect that, or this year expect this. So we could kind of exchange things along the way, because, you know, to have someone to confide in that you can talk to is very important, because it wouldn't shock you. And then you can exchange notes and, you know, that kind of thing. Or, you know, you turn 40 and she would say, hey, the mammogram's coming, you know. So I have friends like that, and my mom has always been open with us about, you know, the things to expect with our bodies.
That's good. That's very good to have a mother like that. Some mothers don't discuss that at all with their children, and they're left
So
to wonder what's going on with them. That's very good.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
very good.
And she's
So when
always
you
been open to helping people. So, you know, I call her a big sister who lived with us when we were younger. She was in grammar school, I was in convent, but she was about maybe 5 years older than me. So, you know, she's always been that person that I check on, even if, you know, she's not a family relative, but not blood, but basically she's like family.
Okay. All right. So when you found out that you were in perimenopause, what was the first thing you did?
The first thing I did, I went and looked up information. I went to look at for the signs and symptoms, what to expect.
Okay.
And um, basically, I mean, not everybody's symptoms are the same.
Right.
In the first time I had a hot flash, I'm sitting in the office and I'm like, why am I in air condition and feeling hot?
Yeah.
And why do I need to turn the fan on and I'm still not cooling down? And then and I also sometimes, different things and different trauma affects us different ways. And I think later on in life, I started having anxiety attacks in my mid-20s. I didn't know what it was at the time, but it was worry mixed with what next for my life. I had changed from architecture and I didn't know what was going to happen. And my mom's like, come back home. Just don't sit there, you know, being miserable. So I came home and spent 6 months. And during that time of uncertainty and, you know, I don't know how I'm going to pay for university and all of that, I suffered an anxiety attack where my whole body just was, and my mom was like, okay, hospital. And they kept me under observation for a few days. But at the time it was, but the muscles would just seize up. And then eventually I went back to school, spent 5 years, got my undergrad, got my graduate degree. And then you know, but I still have to fight anxiety and other things. So I kind of become more aware of it, the things that scare me. And my partner has been very helpful in terms of trying to tell me to calm down. So you see the Just Breathe pillow I have at the back there?
Uh-huh.
That's one of the ways. And I try to incorporate exercise as much as possible. I used to do Pilates when Carla was in Dominica and mixed with a little bit of yoga. And I try to exercise on a regular basis, but sometimes work and meetings kind of get in the way. So,
Okay.
I,
So how long has your perimenopause been so far? About what age did it start?
probably 45.
Okay.
Yeah, about 45. A couple
All
of
right.
years ago, you
Couple
start
of
to
years.
see a symptom and that symptom appear.
Okay.
And
All right.
I
So
think the current symptom is weight gain, unfortunately. I have no explanation for why I have all these pounds on my body.
so when we have weight gain, you have hot flashes. Tell us some of the other symptoms that you experience.
The sleeplessness, I don't sleep as well sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to, I would just fall asleep and knock out till morning. That doesn't always happen. I'll get sleep for hours at a time and just wake up.
Okay.
Would fall into a deep sleep for about an hour and a half and I wake up.
Okay.
So that is where I try to the breathing exercises. I try to pray. So, you know, sometimes before you go to sleep, while you're praying, you fall asleep. So that's a good way to basically close the night off and then expect it. However, being I don't like the heat, so the heat causes headaches, and the current temperatures we're experiencing with the hot
Very.
we've had, I put AC in my room just to be able to sleep comfortably at night. The
Okay.
fan doesn't cut in it anymore.
Okay.
So I have to sleep when I'm cooler. That way I can sleep more comfortably.
Mm-hmm. Now, I noticed you said that one of the symptoms that you had was irritability and mood swings. Tell me a little bit about how that comes on. Does it happen every day? How does that? with the mood swings? How does it go?
Yeah, the irritability comes, I think, just before my period. So I observed that a few years ago. When if something or someone says something that doesn't sit right with me, I tended to lash back. Now I just shut up. And then I was like, whoa, what's going on? Why am I so moody? Why am I so why is this affecting me when it normally doesn't affect
I
me?
know, right?
So
Yeah.
over the weekend, my partner actually gave me a break because he's like, you're not being yourself. And I'm like, I said, wait for it, it's coming, it's coming. So the period came this week and I'm like, I told you that's why I was being and sometimes you feel like you have no control. So
Mm.
I'm like, Darin, please don't say anything out of character. Just don't say anything at all. Spend time with yourself. Don't go out and, say, be with people, or just kind of shut up. Just zip it, because some people don't understand. But then I told you a few minutes ago, you have to be aware of your body. You have to be aware of the bloating, which is something I experienced from my 30s onwards. I'm like, oh, bloating. Yeah, great. So, and then the body changes. So there's some months I get serious breast tenderness and some months I don't.
Okay.
Some months I didn't see my period for 4 months.
Okay.
And then when I was building back the house, stress levels didn't contribute, to the fact that your body is changing. So my partner tried to make it a lot easier for me. So he's like, move out of the house, carry the stuff you need, pack the rest of it away. The dust is not good for you. The noise, the situation, the way your house looks is not a healthy situation. So I was pretty grateful to be able to live away from my house during the renovation, during the repair.
Okay.
But he's a man, so they don't always, they're like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, you kidding me? I'm a woman, I have hormones, and I'm going through, before I'm 50, 51, 52, there's things that you go through, and you have to just become cognizant of it. So
yeah. When I started experiencing irritability, I was reading up on everything, just like, everybody else kind of does.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered that flax seeds, so I tried ground flaxseed. I got it at the health store in town. And when I started taking that, I was no longer irritable. I was no longer snap at my husband. And I noticed one time, normally I take it in my cereal at night, like oatmeal or whatever it is.
Okay, that's good to know.
I didn't take it because we didn't have cereal for supper. I think we had bread or whatever, some nut cereal. Right. So I hadn't taken the flaxseed for a few nights, and then I noticed I got snappish again. I was like, okay, it's been a while. And I said, but why? And when I looked back, I was like, I haven't had flaxseed for a few nights. So it took a while to set in. So that is something you could probably look into, adding ground, so you can sprinkle it over your salads, or do you just incorporate it? If you're baking, you can put it into whatever you're baking. It doesn't have a very strong taste, so it doesn't alter the taste much of whatever you put it into. Because in the cereal, it just added a little kind of a slight nutty taste, but not, overwhelming. So
I've done smoothies though, I think. Smoothies.
Yeah, it could go into the you put it in your smoothies. That's right. So you could try it and see
I was
that helps.
also, on advice of one of the people that work on my floor. She advised evening primrose oil. Have you heard of that one?
I've heard of that, but I haven't tried it simply because the flaxseeds work for me. So that is something else that, yes, I've heard of that as well.
Yeah, I've tried it a few months ago when I didn't have the period and I was basically hot. But she thinks it also helps with the hot flashes.
Okay.
One of my weaknesses though is consistency, so I have to remember to take all these things.
Set an alarm on your phone. That's what I do.
Let me tell you, I have to remember to take all these things. And then if I'm in a rush in the morning and I only make my coffee and go, then I don't open that cupboard and then everything's there. All my supplements are there. So I take them at night when I come home and I'm more relaxed and not in a rush. Take them at night. But I do go to the doctor and I do talk to her about the same issues because we are the same age. I'm born in April, she's born in May. So doctor as well, female doctor. I don't go to male doctors. She is also, aware and then of my medical history with my mom. And she sends me for certain tests just to check certain levels and to manage, other things that I've had as a pre-existing condition since my late 20s. So I was shy of medication before. I was like, why do I have to take all these things? And then you realize you have to manage. They help manage. If not, they don't cure because certain things are not curable, but they have to help manage.
Right.
So I inherited something from my mom and my aunt's side of the family. So I managed that too with the help of my partner. So it's I'm
Supportive.
just concerned about the weight gain. COVID didn't help because most of us were working from home.
I know.
I mean, Jen, you see, I'm not sure when last you saw me, but this is the heaviest I've been, and everybody's like, "Oh, but you're fine. You look okay."
But to
No,
you, remember, we were very, very small. We were skinniest. So
skinny.
it's like, for us,
We
having
were,
this extra weight.
we were a stick, so it doesn't feel good to me, you know. So even if it's this week, I've done one session of exercise for this week. I try to walk, and I just try to. I mean, I had a trainer who told me one time, the weight didn't come on in a month. It's not gonna go in a month. So guess what? I'm having patience with myself. I try to take the stairs at work. I try to, once I'm not busy work and meetings, to exercise for about an hour, hour and a half.
Good. So did you
Hoping
find your symptoms
to
progress
rest.
as you went through? Like, for example, like the weight gain came on, the hot flashes and so on. Did you find that you had all of them at the beginning, or the symptoms just
No,
progressed as you?
different times. Yes, I
Okay.
have about flash in a few months. The
Okay.
period back, you know, the 4 months of no period came back in May with a vengeance, and then what else? The weight gain only came recently, so I have different symptoms different times.
Okay. All right. So it's not
Yeah.
all at once. Okay.
But
You
the
said that.
irritability does come every month with the period, though.
Okay, so maybe you could try doing whatever you do, like the
Yes,
flaxseed or the primrose, or like about a week before and during, and maybe
correct.
that might help. So
Yeah.
besides the eating primrose oil and learning to, you said just breathe like the pillow behind you, the walking, is there anything else that you're taking for specifically for perimenopause symptoms or doing to help with those symptoms?
No, not anything else. No.
Okay. All right. Do you find that, in Dominica, we have sunshine all year round. It's warm, except for in the evenings during the later part of the year that it gets cold. Did you find that the colder nights were better to handle your symptoms versus when it's hot?
Yes. And
Okay.
overall, I function better when it's cooler.
Okay.
The humidity, and I can think better and sleep better and even do household chores and all of that.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah, when I pray for November, December, January, February. That's my better time of the year.
All right. Now your partner, you said that he recognized certain things, but then at certain times he's puzzled as to why you're like this. His initial reaction when you first maybe exhibited one of your symptoms, maybe going through the hot flash or the mood swings, what was it like?
He's in the health profession, so he knows these things will come on eventually.
Okay. Okay.
But he tends to think I put too much emphasis on it, and I shouldn't let emotions control me. And I said, it's not emotions, it's hormones.
Right. Right. So he knows
Yeah.
you're in that stage of life.
Oh yes.
So
Yeah.
he should read up some to see what other women go through. They go through a
Oh
lot
no,
more terrible things.
he knows. He knows. He's just being. Oh, let me close a window there because I just got a notification.
Okay. All right.
He knows, but he is a big believer of mindset and mindset change.
Okay.
So
All right.
he's like, sometimes as humans we have to also control the mind, not control it, but attempt to.
That can be successful in certain areas, but I've found out if talking to many women during perimenopause and these symptoms, mindset does not help. When the flash comes on you, you can't mind control that.
Exactly. And you're irritable, but how do you control it? You know things irritate you, but I don't see how how do you even attempt to control it? Like, become aware of it, and you may just, oh, why are you so?
Right.
If I tell you what I have to tell you, you may not like it. So I'm gonna zip it.
Yeah. What has helped you the most thus far in your perimenopause journey? What do you think has helped you the most?
The outdoors. I walk in. The breathing, staying cool, staying occupied. Staying occupied and not worry. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to go through it. I've always been outdoors, so I tend to go outdoors. To cool down, I will do the river bath. And yes, I don't mind doing things by myself. I've always been that person that doesn't need a whole lot of people behind me. So I can just take my can go. Or I'll have friends that say, hey, we're going to the river, you come in, and that'll be spontaneous. I've adjusted my hairstyle though, since it's been that warm. So I do individual plaits instead of doing my hair in a one plait. So I want to comb my hair for me or use the cornrows, and that way the hair breathes. Yes, so that big adjustment for the summer months, changing my hair.
All right, that's a good tip.
It's in braids right now. If I turn And in that, I come home from work and I just let it all out.
Okay.
That way, my scalp is not thing, because the heat could induce headaches.
Okay.
I tend to that's one way of alleviating it, is to keep my hair more, my scalp more open.
All right. So you're coming to the point where you will have no more periods. I mean, I think you mentioned there were months you didn't have it, and it came again. I'm still getting mine every month, just they're just late or early,
My
and so
cycles
on.
are shorter. My cycles are
Okay.
shorter. Yeah.
So then, how do you feel about the time when you have no more periods? How does that?
I can't wait, because ever since I started seeing my period, I've had pain.
Yes.
So to me, if there's a time that comes when I don't have pain, I'll be like, okay. But then I've also read that it also comes with dryness and a certain amount of discomfort and all of that. So I am still open to exploring.
Well, for the dryness, what I have been doing is using coconut oil. When my husband and I are about to get intimate, I mean, I'm dry. So we just use coconut oil, and it helps with that. So it's like I no
All
longer
natural.
experience the discomfort from the dryness. So that is what, if I'm very, very, very aroused, then there's no need
It's
for that. But then at the
different.
beginning, you're not very, very, very aroused. So we
Yeah.
just use coconut oil, so and something natural for the
Exactly.
dryness.
So there's oils for that, and there's other ways and means, I mean, to be intimate and not penetrate. And then if your partner has patience and with you, oh my God, that's even better.
Yes.
Because women are usually slower to be aroused, a man is usually faster, and then that way, if your partner has patience with you, there's so many other things they can do.
Right. And then you get to the point where you're well lubricated, and yes.
Exactly.
But if you just want a quickie,
yes,
then coconut oil is good.
oils help. Yeah, oils help.
Yes.
Natural oils help.
Yes.
So, but yes, I don't mind. I don't mind, period when it comes.
For me, it's like I didn't mind having the period, but for me, it's the pain, the extreme cramps that I used to get. Now it's decreased over the years, but it is still painful, and I find I have to take a strong painkiller. Bushes never help. I tried all kinds of the bushes they recommend here, and it never helped. So I have to resort to strong pain medication. So I'm looking forward to no pain, not necessarily no period, just no pain.
No pain, right? Exactly.
No pain.
Because this week we had a very good, important conference at work. And when I saw a spot on Monday night, I'm like, no. My week can be messed up. So I a strong painkiller every night for 3 nights, just to ensure that I could go to work and function without, oh my God, my this, oh my God, my that. So that definitely is something you're aware of. But I try the spice tea, I try all these other things.
Everything. Raspberry, rosemary.
Yes, you remember right. Yes, I've tried the raspberry teas as well. So for me, it's the pain and discomfort and the breast tenderness. I'm not a person who likes to wear a bra all the time. So I get home and I'm like, I just want to take it off. But when the breast is heavy, you feel like they're heavy. They haven't changed in size, but I just want to take it off. And sometimes I have to sleep if it's that bad. So those are the symptoms that I look forward to, that I don't have to suffer with every month.
Yeah.
And so that, but in time, we don't know what's ahead, so we just have to manage it as we go along.
Right. Now I noticed you had a symptom that was similar to mine as well, where you had urine leakage, like when you cough or you sneeze or something. How did you handle that, or how are you handling that if you're still experiencing it?
I am handling it by wearing liners.
Okay.
I wear liners because that's a sanitary way to handle it.
Yeah.
And because sometimes I have urgency and I have to, it absorbs whatever I need. If I'm running to the toilet, it absorbs whatever that needs to be. Jolly's has something called discreet. It's very thin, and it will absorb more than a typical liner.
Okay, I must look into that. Okay.
So that one for sure helps with those leakages. You have learned not to, sometimes if I have to leave the building, use the toilet, Darin, because you don't know where you're going to end up.
Yes.
Those you become cognizant of that. I had, like I told you this week, I had the conference, and before the conference, 5 minutes, I knew I was going to be seated for at least 2 hours. Darin, go use the bathroom. Because I was like, but I also, again, I try to read up on stuff. So they said Kegel exercises help.
Yes, because that is what helped me as well because I started doing it. Well, the reason I was doing it was more for sexual satisfaction than
Correct.
the leakage, but it had that
Correct.
side effect that I noticed that it wasn't so frequent anymore, and it's almost
Hmm.
gone where when I cough and I sneeze, I don't have this leakage
Yeah.
anymore. At first,
Yeah.
I was like, what is this? I'm not an old
Hmm.
person. Why am I
Yeah. The
leaking?
little drip, that just that little
Yes,
drip, and you're like, what's going
yes,
on? Yeah. So I tend to wear liners, and then I also discovered this product called Discreet. That it's a little thicker than a liner, but it's not as thick as a pad, and
mhm.
it absorb whatever you drip during the day. So for me, that's a hygienic way as well.
Right, right. So now tell us. You're in perimenopause, just like I am. There are other women who are in perimenopause who will be listening to this on YouTube and so on. So can you tell us something that would help us in our journey?
You just have to be aware and open to the changes that are taking place. My period got short a few years ago, and I was like, wait, I keep a calendar. I
Mhm.
keep a calendar of symptoms. So a week before, sometimes 2 weeks before my period, my allergies will act up. I write that down. If I see a spot and I don't see a period, I write that down. Um, I wear liners, so for the most part, if anything happens, I capture that. And you just have to be you observe your symptoms different times, different things. Talk to your doctors. Don't be ashamed. I mean, I hope some of us have mostly female doctors who probably have gone or will go through it with us. Talk to them. Do research online from reputable websites. Talk to people who are older than you. If you're like me, you talk to your parents, talk to your peers who are going and will go through it. Um, you don't hide it. There's nothing to hide. I don't think there's anything to hide. And because we have this thing about being ashamed of our bodies as women. We were taught, oh yeah. And the first thing somebody in Dominic will tell you, oh, you're getting fatter, and they don't know why.
Yes.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? I think I know I've gained a few pounds. My clothes tell me. So say you're looking good instead, something like that. Be complimentary to others. Be kind to others because society in itself is not always kind to us, so we have to be kind to ourselves.
Yeah,
So
I noticed that that topic is not widely discussed. Like you were
no,
fortunate you had a mother who was able to point you to that direction. Now my mother is away from me, and
yeah.
we talk about stuff, but that never really came up. But
Mm-hmm.
you find that I would ask this person around our age group, I'd be like, no, I never heard of this, or I didn't know anything about it, and I just started feeling. And then a friend of mine, is like, I didn't even know what was happening to me until I spoke to you, and
Right.
it's like, so my prayer is that through this blog and the YouTube interviews, that people will become more cognizant of what may happen to them in the future, the younger ones, and those who are going through it will be relief, like a sigh of relief, like, oh my gosh, I'm normal. This is normal. This is what, and they will know what they're going
Yes.
through because it is not
Yes.
something that you grew up hearing about. People, all
No.
you know is about, the older women talk about they're going through menopause, but the period before menopause, it's like you
Mm.
don't know anything about it. So, it's good to hear like stories like yours so people can say, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I remember hearing this young lady saying this. So that is what I'm going through.
Mhm.
It's good to
Yeah.
hear. I want us to talk, like before, we weren't talking about sex. People didn't talk about sex. That was like a
As
taboo
for that.
subject. And now we can
Exactly.
talk about sex very freely now. So
Yeah.
with this, I want it to be something because it affects people who have partners, husbands, their sons. They wouldn't know what you're going through. Mommy just angry for no reason. But if he or she knows that you're going through perimenopause, you're like, okay, that is
Yeah.
mommy on her perimenopause. And so
Yes.
they cannot feel insulted or feel rejected because they know what you're going through, and they can be
Exactly.
more supportive. So this is the hope of
Exactly.
this blog and these interviews, that people will become more aware of it and be able
Yeah.
to realize, okay, you see that coworker of mine is not anything
Mhm.
to do with me. She
Mhm.
going through her perimenopause, that
That's
kind of thing.
correct. That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't believe in hiding things. I don't believe, you tell the truth. You do research, you ask questions. And if you don't know, there's always medical professionals out there who are willing to help. So talk to your doctors. I mean, if you go to your doctor, that should be something confidential. So you talk to your doctors. And I always encourage women. I could be wrong or biased, but I also encourage women to have female doctors.
Yes.
They they
Yes.
they know the female body. They
Ever
experience.
since I was in my late teens, I have not late teens, mid teens. I did not want
Yeah,
a male doctor. I've had a female
exactly.
doctor all this time. It's only
Yeah,
now we have a family doctor who's male, but
right.
I don't really, I go for him and he goes through all my issues with me and everything. But
Hmm.
other than that, if I
Hmm.
have to choose to go to a doctor for a female problem,
That's
I
right.
will go to a female doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Same
he
same
treats
here.
generally, but female challenges,
Exactly.
I'll go to a female doctor.
I have met very compassionate and doctors, that male doctors, that do listen, ask the pertinent questions.
Yeah.
However, according to you, the female issues and the body and what it changes, I just prefer to talk to my female doctor.
Yeah.
So
talk to the women in their 20s
encourage.
and their 30s now. Talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
They have not
Yeah.
known what perimenopause is. They don't even know if they're going to go through that. What can you say to them to help them prepare mentally, emotionally, physically? What sort of advice would you give them?
First, you have to observe your body. You have to observe your body. You have a cycle. You have a body that, you know, your mind, your body, just observe it. Look at it. Don't be ashamed. You know, the same thing we're talking about. Don't be ashamed to look at your body and your body parts. You know, see the changes in them. See how your body reacts to certain things. My sister developed allergies in her 40s. She never knew she had, you know, because there's certain things, something about the food we eat now, we have to try to eat as natural as possible, as natural as we live in Dominica. We have to be grateful for what we have. Know where your food come from. Talk to the people in the market. Ask them how much fertilizer they use, if they use fertilizer, you know. How is your product grown? Observe when you buy lettuce. I've succumbed to buy lettuce from one supplier right now because it lasts forever. You know, careful what you put in your body. Drink lots of water because dehydration can also lead to other things. Drink water. Try to stay away from sugar. From the time I hit 40, know your family history. Oh, that's another thing. Know your family history. I was 29 when I found that I had an issue, and I was able to track it back to my mom's side of the family. So know your family history, ask questions.
Then some of these things are triggered when you enter perimenopause. You don't experience anything, but when you enter perimenopause, everything is all out of whack with your hormones. So it's like you end up having issues that came from your family because of perimenopause. So paying attention to your body and your family history is very important. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, know your family history. Know what when you start burying your aunts and your uncles and your things, ask them what they died of. Because that way you know there's heart disease or there's asthma or there's stroke or there's what are the conditions out there, you know. Let people know, because sometimes you're diabetic or you're hypertensive and you may not know the symptoms that come from these diseases. I remember my aunt telling me she was suffering a heart attack and she knew. She was a nurse. She's like, I had a typical conditions for heart attack. I knew I was having a heart attack, and I'm like, oh my God. But she knew. And there was a nurse, you know, there's a nurse next to her, and she said, let's go, you know. So she didn't die from it. She knew she was having a heart attack and how to now manage.
Knowledge is extremely important. Knowledge is extremely important.
Yes. Internet is a good tool. Research the reputable websites, ask your questions, know your history, take charge of what you put into your bodies, and exercise and well-being.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us, Darin. I really appreciate it. You know, when others hear your story, I pray that they will learn something from it and, you know, take better care of themselves. So God bless you and have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks for having me.